All right, everybody, welcome to Third Coast Ministries. I am Brian. We are here with a new Missionary Mondays for November 11th, 2019. As you know, November 11th is Veterans Day, so if you have not had the opportunity yet, make sure you thank a veteran for everything that they have done for us. All right, in today's topic, we're going to talk about who are you? And when talking about this, we're going to go through three main points. Why did I decide on this topic? Who are you? And we're going to close with why is this important? All right, so why this topic? Well, it originated in one of my English classes in my sixth and seventh grade advanced English class. We are currently working on family crests and coat of arms. And the students were kind of going back and forth, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a project with you guys. So that's kind of how it started. We started it last Thursday, and today's Monday, like I mentioned earlier. Then we started our presentations today. And while I was working on mine, it got me thinking, like, well, who are you? Who am I? As I was working on like trying to wrap my mind around what I wanted to do for the project. And one of the things I thought about is before you can go somewhere, it helps to know where you're from, and that you should not ever forget where you came from and those that came before you. All right, as you can see in the picture next to my face, it is an Irish cladding. And it's a real basic drawing, but it gets the principle across. And there's three things about this picture that I like. The hands represent friendship, the heart represents love, and the crown represents loyalty. And on a side note, this is the actual picture that I used for my tattoo on my ring finger, which you can see. Oh, sorry. Sorry, that was my wedding ring. Is right there. So it got a little damaged in my previous job, but oh well, we can keep going. And so I decided for my project, I really wanted to use this because it has a pretty big significance for me and how I choose to live my life. But I wanted to do a little twist on it. So I will show you what I'm talking about next. All right, so as I just mentioned, I used the Irish cladding for the base of my project and decided to do a little twist of it, which you can see right here. So this is my take of the Irish cladding. I changed the hands to wings and then added a scroll with our names on it and changed some coloring and stuff like that. So I will explain a little bit more in each of the following slides for the different parts of the picture. And if you want to see what I did to make this, it was fun. It took me Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I finished this morning before class. I'm going to put together a video, a little slideshow, so be sure to check it out on the YouTube channel. I'll also try to put a link down there at the bottom. All right, so right now we're going to talk about the heart, and I chose to call it the heart of love. And what I was thinking about is, what is love? And love is, to me, is a decision. Each day you get up, you decide to love or you decide not to love. It's really as simple as that. You either do it or you don't do it. And how do you show love? Well, there's a mountain of books out there, and I really like the Five Love Languages. That's a very good book. They have one for men. If you're a guy, definitely read it. It will help you out. But one of the things for me that is love is through service, and you read that in the Bible. I'll talk later about when Jesus washed his disciples' feet. And one of the things that I was thinking about is we all know it's easy to love someone that you like, your friends, your family, maybe, hopefully your wife, and but try to love someone that does you wrong, someone that talks bad about you, somebody that does you dirty in a situation. And that's when you'll realize the challenge of love being a decision. All right, so as you can see here, this is the crown, and I've titled this the crown of loyalty. And basically, who or what are you loyal to? As a Christian, it should be God, should be Jesus. That's a decision you got to make for yourself. So, what are you loyal to? You have to be loyal to something. All right, so one of the questions I got today was, Mr. Baker, we understand the Irish cladding, but why did you choose to use wings? And I did for three reasons. One, to represent my travels. You know, we all start off at home, but eventually you got to leave. Um, I left to go to college. During college, I'm from Texas, in case you don't know. During college, I went to the University of Kansas to work, so that was a pretty big trip for me. I've been to Australia to work, and I've also moved to Minnesota with one of my best friends, Adam, to work for about 18 months. So, and if you don't know, right now I'm currently sitting in Matagalpa, Nicaragua, recording this. So, you know, it represents my travels. And number two, in case you haven't ever seen it, go check it out. There's different pictures of mama birds using their wings to cover their babies during storms, and I thought this was a really good metaphor for life, you know, and how we should be. You know, there's going to be times when you have your own personal storms that people are going to have to help you, and there's going to be people around you that are going through their personal storms. And if you can, even if you can't, you should try. Put that wing over to help them, to help shelter them, to help them get through. You know, we have to help each other in this life. That you have to. It's going to be a hard life, you know, without that. So I thought I saw a couple of those pictures, and it was something that always kind of stuck with me. And number three, if you haven't ever heard it before, eagles don't hang out with chickens. So to me, this means I need to be myself. I need to know who I am and not worry about what people are saying about me or what people have done. And it's also a reminder for me personally, to continue to try to lift up those around me. So that's why I chose to use wings instead of hands. All right, so moving right along, now we're going to talk about who are you, and I'm going to start off with a few questions. So, do you know who you are? Assuming that some of you are wanting to be missionaries, I would assume that means you're a Christian. So, what does it mean to be a Christian? Do you know that you are God's son or daughter? Do you know the significance of being God's son or daughter? And, you know, where did you come from? How was your family life growing up? What were your circumstances? All of these are examples of things that shape us into who we are. And if you're a Christian, please never forget that you're God's child. It does not matter what has happened. God is not mad at you. God loves you. And you are his son or you are his daughter. And for more on that, I recommend reading The Believer's Authority by Andrew Womack. If you don't really know what it means to be a child of God, this book will help you with that. As I mentioned earlier, we are shaped by where we are from. And living in a different country I'm gonna be honest, it's hard at times, especially understanding cultural differences. You know, I'm used to doing things a certain way. Here, some things are different, right or wrong. I'm not going to talk about that, it's just different. So, if you're planning to serve as a missionary or go on a short term trip, you need to know who you are and what you believe. And I believe that I'm here for a reason, and that reason is to serve. This is, to me, this is the best example of Christ that you can give to others or that you can be. This understanding is why I'm able to continue when others have dropped out. And I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone, and don't get me wrong, there are definitely days that I've wanted to just pack my backpack and go back home to how life used to be. And you'll have those days, but that's why it's so important that you know who you are. Earlier, I briefly mentioned when Jesus washed his disciples' feet. Now I want to take a little more time to kind of read a little more into that specifically and kind of unpack it so we can wrap our heads around it. So if you go to John 13, I'm going to read verses 12 through 15 and 17. 12. So when he had washed their feet, taken his garments, and sat down again, he said to them, do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. And then go down to 17. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. All right, so to me, Jesus is giving us a perfect example of how to serve others. And if you don't know, back in the day, like, they were clothed almost head to toe. So really, their feet are what got dirty. And you can go up to, looks like starting at 6, he actually went to Simon Peter, and Simon Peter kind of was like, hey, no, no, you can't wash my feet, don't touch my feet. And Jesus was basically like, look, I'm going to do this. You need to go with it. And if you go down to 10, you can see the last part of 10 is when he says, and you are clean, but not all of you. And so this is basically Jesus throwing a little shade at Judas. Judas may not have picked up on this, but so Jesus was washing everyone's feet, not just the ones that were good to him, the one that was going to betray him. He even washed his feet. So that's important, and that's where it comes back to that decision. It's easy to love people that are good to you. It's difficult to love people that are hard on you. So always keep that in mind. In closing, you need to know who you are, you need to know where you're from, and you need to know that you are a child of God. If you don't know God or don't have a personal relationship with Jesus, we should talk. If you're interested in being a missionary, be sure to check out our other videos. If you have any questions, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and send us a message. I would love to hear what you think about this topic, and if it has helped you in some way, or if it has brought up more questions, because usually answering questions always seems to bring up more questions. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Missionary Mondays, and as usual, adios.